Hi, this is Amanda Watchman, and this is Social Deviance of Nazi Germany. What is Nazi Germany? Nazi Germany describes the time between 1933 and 1945 in which Adolf Hitler was the dictator. The goal of the Nazi Party during this time was to purify the world of all Jewish people. In order to do this, the Nazis began the Holocaust, in which an estimated 6 million Jewish people were killed. Due to the genocide of the Jewish community, World War II was started, in which the Axis powers, including Germany, were defeated by the Allied powers. This also ended in Hitler's death in light of the imminent loss. Who is Adolf Hitler? Adolf Hitler was born in April 20th, 1889, in Austria. In the summer of 1919, Hitler began his political career, but it wasn't until 1920 that Hitler was appointed to grow the Nazi political party. He quickly became the leader in 1921. He began spreading the Nazi Party's views through rallies, and due to his charismatic behaviors, he was able to gain a lot of traction, especially from the working class. Hitler believed people were unequal based on their race, nationality, etc. He deemed the main enemy the Jewish community. After a failed election, Hindenburg elected Hitler as his chancellor in 1933. When Hindenburg died in 1934, Adolf Hitler announced himself the absolute dictator. He immediately began his campaign to expand Germany and expel the Jewish community. Hitler's reign ended in 1945 when he killed himself due to the imminent defeat of Germany. The Nazi Party's beginning. Founded by Anton Dexler, who was a far-right locksmith, the Nazi Party was formed for the workers and was formed in 1920, but it did not gain recognition until after the Great Depression. It was a radically right party that included racist ideology, specifically very anti-Semitic beliefs. What is the Beer Hall Push? Shortly after Hitler gained control of the Nazi Party, they band together to overthrow the government. This was their first attempt of many. Their goal was to create a new government that was based on race. This took place on November 8th and November 9th. After a failed attempt, Hitler took too long to decide what to do, which gave the government enough time to respond to the next attack. They were able to quickly put down the threat and prosecuted 9 of the rioters, including Hitler. In April 1924, Hitler was convicted and sentenced to 5 years in prison. However, he got out after only 8 months. The Nazi Party was then banned from the country. Reinstatement of the Nazi Party. After Hitler was released from prison, he realized he needed to find a legal way to take over the country, such as an election. He began speaking at rallies that started from 25,000 people and grew up to 14 million people. The rapid increase was a result of the Great Depression, in which many workers were looking for a strong leader to guide them. They focused on unemployed workers during this time, and in the 1932 election, they received 38% of the votes. However, after the effects of the Great Depression wore off, the numbers dropped to 12 million in November 1932's election. Hitler's rise to power. After the failed election, Hitler convinced the current president, Paul von Hindenburg, to announce Hitler as chancellor. Due to the Enabling Act, Hitler was allowed to declare decrees himself. And then on July 14th, 1933, Hitler declared the Nazi Party to be the only political party in Germany. And then after Hindenburg's death in 1934, Hitler announced himself as dictator. He forced all upper-level citizens to become Nazis and executed all socialist opponents. How Hitler controlled the country. There are 3 main ways Hitler controlled the country: through the use of fear by killing anyone that opposed him, the use of force by making people swear under the Nazi Party's beliefs, and propaganda. Anywhere you would look, there would be anti-Semitic information, and any anti-Nazi news would quickly be censored from the community. The Holocaust. As we know, the Nazis' party main belief was anti-Semitism. The Nazi Party started off by passing discriminatory laws that targeted the Jewish community. However, they believed that this was not doing enough to hurt the Jewish community. They began to spread lies that the loss of World War I was due to the Jews, and then eventually came up with the final solution, which included mass murderings of Jews. This is called the Holocaust. The final solution took place between 1941 and 1945. During that time, Nazis would kill Jews through mass shootings and gas chambers. Jews were sent to concentration camps where they were forced into labor, and then eventually in 1941, executions began through gas chambers and the shootings. What was life like on the concentration camps? Barracks were only meant to hold 150 to 250 people. However, they were often holding up to 1,000 Jewish people. Prisoners were not able to wash themselves, many disease spreads, and they were so malnourished that most Jewish people living in these concentration camps died within a few months of moving in. Here are some photos to show the horrible conditions of the Jewish people during the Holocaust. What deviant behaviors are shown throughout Nazi Germany? The kidnapping of Jewish people, the murder, torture, racism, specifically anti-Semitic ideas, abuse, declaring Hitler dictator with no legal right, theft, and war. World War II. September 1st of 1939, Germany attempted to take over Poland. However, Poland's allies was with Great Britain and France, who quickly announced a war against Germany on September 3rd. The Axis powers were mainly ran through Germany, Italy, and Japan, while the Allied powers were mainly ran by Great Britain, the United States, and the Soviet Union. At the beginning, the Axis powers had a large advantage until Japan brought the United States into the war by bombing Pearl Harbor. The war lasted 9 years, from 1939 to 1945, and took an estimated 53 million lives. The end of Nazi Germany. On April 30th, 1945, Hitler was found dead by suicide after realizing that Germany and the Axis powers were going to lose. Germany officially surrendered on May 7th, 1945, and all concentration camps were shut down and all Jewish people were liberated. What were the effects of Nazi Germany? In many parts of the world, anti-Semitic beliefs still stood and threatened the Jewish community for years to come. Many countries suffered with the lack of food, lack of money, and destruction of cities after World War II. Many citizens were displaced from their homes and had to move to other countries in order to survive. And there was a large separation between East countries and West countries of the world. Through this timeline, we can see how from 1933, everything that Hitler has done affects us still today. In 1933, Hitler was announced Chancellor of Germany, and he quickly began the Holocaust. In 1939, World War II started after Poland was invaded. In 1945, Hitler was found dead by suicide, and shortly after, the Axis powers formally surrendered. And today, we still have many lasting effects that still plague the earth. Today, one of the most recent cases of history repeating itself from Nazi Germany was Elon Musk doing the Nazi salute at Trump's inauguration. Although he has never officially said what it was, he has also never apologized for any people that it affected. This is an extremely harmful salute and affected many people who had lost loved ones throughout wars or had been affected throughout this whole process. On a more local level, there have been recent marches of Nazis near Columbus, Ohio. This shows that although these ideas have been very hidden, they are still shown in our world today. Here I have listed my sources throughout this project. Thank you for listening.